Boys, we're looking a little looser, okay? You can call me Lord Farquaad, Severus Snape, whatever you want. We're feeling a little looser, and that's what's most important. Let me go get a cigar. Okay, so, lot to talk about. Dude, welcome in. So, I know there's going to be a lot of you guys that are coming from the algorithm. Welcome in. We got this. We got this. Let me zoom in on that because you knew what the first thing was. But we got this right here. Same thing as last time. This is my favorite. I stay going back to this. Man, we got a lot to talk about. So, you see the title. You know what it's about. I don't have to really sugarcoat it. We're going to start cutting things. But, dude, I got to cut this cigar and we're going to talk about it. So, the main story, right? Lahaina, I think is how you say it. Lahaina. I think. I know I'm going to get flamed in the comments, but I think it's Lahaina is how you pronounce it, okay? Lahaina, Charlie Kirk, and Epstein are all related, and you guys probably don't even know how, but we're going to break it down tonight on a quick episode. It ain't going to be quick, I won't lie to you. That would be a lie. I'm not going to do that. That's just terrible. So, anyway. Oh, cut that guard. Toro Fuente. It was coming out at 78% humidity. I won't even lie. That's a little warm. That's fine. I like my cigars with a little phlegm. No, that was terrible. I shouldn't have said that. That was disgusting. No, so anyway, welcome in. I appreciate the newcomers. If you haven't already subscribed, dude, subscribe. 95% of the people that just watched my last episode not subscribed. Please subscribe, man. I hate to sound like a cliche little rat, but now I understand. I understand now because I finally hit people's algorithms and folks ain't subscribing. I did get like 7 subscribers in the last few days. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We're hanging out in the basement. We're getting the cigar lit and then we'll talk about it. So, Lahaina, dude, what's going on in the main story? To break down the main story, short and sweet, it happened on August 8th, 2023. They say 102 people died. They say 2 people was missing. And they say, if I remember right, there were 67 injuries that were non-fatal. So 67 injuries. Anyway, so 102, 2, and 67. Pretty low is what they're saying. Okay? That's what they say. My man, Charlie Kirk, had a lot to say about that, though. And we're going to cut right to that, okay? Let me make sure I'm on my timeline appropriately here. But, yeah, so I talked about the main event there. This guy, man. So I'm going to post a video right here, and I'm going to write that down. So, of course, we can cross-reference everything, and I can edit it later. One-man band with a cigar in my mouth. He was talking about this pretty openly. I didn't realize that my other light turned off in here. I'm going to go turn that on, just that way, yeah, this doesn't look bad, in case it looks bad. And it might look bad anyways. I'm just a dude in my basement, right? Who cares? But Charlie was talking about this openly. He talked about it on his podcast. In fact, not only did he talk about it on his podcast, it was clip-baited by the mainstream media and taken out of context way back when this happened. And I kind of remembered it, which is why I brought it up. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Because it totally ties into all of this. Now, I'm going to post that video right here. We'll come back to it here in a moment. I'll be hitting my cigar in the meantime while you're watching it. It's a long clip. Please buckle in because it's very contextual to what we're about to say. And when I post it, I'll try to clip down. I'll try to cut down his ums and his spacing and his whatnots. But as you guys know, he's very articulate. He spoke very well. Um, but I'll just admit it, it's a 10-minute clip. Okay. And I think it's best to just show it in its entirety so you can see his views instead of what was formerly clipped by the mainstream media to make him look like an asshole. So yeah, here's that. See you in a moment.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Hit the bell, subscribe. We have new content coming out daily. Make sure you subscribe. God bless you guys. You would think the big story in America is Big Fannie Willis going after Donald Trump. You know that our 111 people died in fires in Maui and 1,200 people are missing? You would think that would have nonstop coverage on the media. It's just like nonstop coverage, nothing else. It's interesting. It would be good for ratings. It's not as if Maui is East Palestine, Ohio. This is what's really interesting. East Palestine, Ohio, you go, oh, they don't care about that part of the country. You know, that's Trump, MAGA America. You know, those people eat at Denny's. We don't like those people. They probably own guns. Maui is different. Maui is one of the most Democrat areas in the entire country. It's a blue enclave. It's also a billionaire and millionaire playground. So you'd think that Maui literally being incinerated, as if it's Dresden, as we covered it earlier in the week, 1,200 people still missing and over 111 people dead, on pace to become a deadlier event than the Oklahoma City bombing. You'd think that this would be a big story. Now, the left is just saying, well, it's climate change, and this is why we need to restrict carbon emissions. And then you have John Podesta lecturing us about carbon emissions. So I asked our team, I said, hey, can we just get kind of a little bit of pulse check on Maui, because we did this whole thing early in the week, which, for the record, I'll say it again, there's more to the story than what they're telling us in Maui. I don't have all the details. There is more to the story. There is something awfully suspicious going on here. From the cover-up to the lies about it, to the origination of the fire, there is something that does not look or smell right. And if you have any idea of that, email me, freedom@charliekirk.com. I'd love to hear from you on what that is. So the Democrat governor, Josh Green, said after the disaster that global warming was the ultimate reason that so many people perished, because only global warming allowed for the so-called fire hurricane that swept through the island. But that is a lie. Global warming did not cause the fire. It's the old Office clip. Ryan started the fire. Local incompetence and left-wing ideology did. But the New York Times won't tell you that. The media won't tell you that. The reason why they are not deploying reporters to Maui is because they're afraid they might actually find the truth. The reason why we don't have nonstop panoramic camera coverage of like the Wait 20-something info babe on MSNBC, we don't have like nonstop coverage of, yes, Brian, we're here and the devastation is just beyond belief, is because they actually might accidentally stumble into the truth. Now, there's some passive news coverage of it, but I was watching the Mockingbird networks this morning. There is far more coverage of Big Fannie Willis and Donald Trump than there is in Maui. Far more. In fact, CNN.com, purported names, photos of Georgia grand jurors shared online. It's all about Georgia, all about Georgia, all about Georgia. Will Cain was the only major news network on the ground. It just strikes me so strange, because usually you have, you know, the kind of super left-wing journalism student from Columbia Journalism who doesn't have an original thought in her head go on TV and she says, yes, I mean, interviewing locals. Remember Katrina? Where is that? The great Rush Limbaugh, may he rest in peace, was a teacher. And Rush taught me this, and he taught you this. When the media doesn't cover something, that is far more important than when they do cover something. I wouldn't say they're covering it up. It's like they're just kind of coasting. And these press conferences are It's incoherent psychobabble. Oh, we don't regret not activating the siren and the alarm. The FEMA administrator is totally on an island. Get it? And then there's this whole question of the water. 111 people are dead, and 1,200 people are missing. Are they slow dripping the death toll so that Biden can't be blamed? And I know Biden did like a press release or whatever. Remember Katrina? Katrina, when George W. Bush was president, we made it feel as if it was Pompeii, the biggest thing. And by the way, it was mishandled by the Bush administration. This could almost be as deadly as Katrina when all is said and done. So let's play some pieces of tape here, just kind of walk through it, because my suspicious meter is 10 out of 10 right now. Doesn't look right, doesn't smell right, doesn't feel right. Play cut 82. Maui chief doesn't regret not activating sirens during wildfire. I know it's a double negative, but it'll make sense. Play cut 82.
Do you regret not sounding the sirens?
I do not.
So many people said they could have been saved if they had time to escape.
Had we sounded the siren that night, we're afraid that people would have gone Malka. And if that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire. And so that is the reason why our protocol has been to use WEA and EAS. By the way, I should also note that there are no sirens Malka or on the mountainside where the fire was spreading down.
And now this is Kaleo Manuel, the Hawaiian water official who refused to release water resources and let landowners fight the Maui fire. This is his philosophy about water. Before I play this, I have come under, let's just say, a fair amount of attack from Media Matters and even some Christian pastors, because I say that liberals are earth worshipers. They're pagans. Oh, you can't say that. They don't worship the earth. No, they believe in magical elements, that they worship the sun, the moon, the sky, the water. Don't believe me? Play cut 80.
The commission is responsible per our authorizing statute to protect and manage all water resources in the state. One Water is like taking it and looking at it from a holistic system perspective. Statute treated Native Hawaiians treated water as one of the earthly manifestations of a god and a kua kane. We've become used to looking at water as like something which we use and not necessarily something that we revere as that thing that gives us life, right? I mean, to me, it's a shift in value set. So really my motto is always like, let water connect us and not divide us. Like we can share it, but it requires true conversations about equity.
True conversations about equity. So they didn't turn the water on, things burned. This is the guy who told landowners they couldn't use water to fight the fires while the fires were still small. Is it because he believed that water was sacred and we must worship the water? Or is it because of equity? Was it because there were certain people's homes burning that he wanted them to burn? They believe in pagan Hawaiian culture, we must worship water, not life. Wokeism is just a return of an old god. The Bible was written as a refutation. It was obsessed with challenging this idea, specifically of Egypt. This is no different. They believe the Nile was holy. And they believe water is so holy you can't use it to fight a fire. That's what he's implying here. Well, that same guy did not allow the release of the water. This is the one thing that is coming clear in Maui. And the media couldn't care less. Because I think they're afraid of what they'll find. That this is not climate change, not global warming, not carbon emissions. This is left-wing ideologues that allowed the island to burn. That there is blood on the hands of the water worshipers. Christianity broke us free of pagan slavery. So did the Hebrew Bible, by the way. It challenged this idea of worshiping the earth, that God is not in nature, that God created nature. Could it be that Maui did not have to burn if they didn't believe such wacky, goofy, pagan stuff.
So I want to just talk about for a moment, welcome back, right? I want to just talk about right out the gate. He mentions John Podesta, and John Podesta was trying to cover up the mainstream narrative of what was going on there, right? John Podesta, I've already talked about on this podcast. If you need to go back a few episodes, please do. I've posted his art collection at the end of one of my episodes. I'll try to go back and link that here. I forget which one it was because I've actually posted a few episodes recently, but I would definitely recommend watching that. You don't even have to watch the whole podcast. Just go to that episode, and I'll link it here. Go to that episode and watch the very end, because I show some clips of John Podesta's art collection, and very bluntly, I show a clip of him just abusing a kid. So if you don't believe that stuff exists, I posted evidence of it. It's very, very self-evident. It's very bluntly who it is. He's speaking on the video, so if you have any doubt of who it is, just take that video of him speaking and corroborate it with him speaking publicly in front of Congress, because there's dozens of those clips. He was formerly involved with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. So very well involved. Charlie Kirk immediately mentions him as being involved in a potential cover-up with this. It says a lot. Charlie knew about John Podesta. Charlie knew about Pizzagate. Charlie knew about Epstein. Charlie knew about all of these things. Okay, and he was also very public about these things. Now, what I'll say, and I'm not going to go down the deeper rabbit hole of, is, but knowing two victims of trafficking, I know very confidently, and they've joked with me, if you ever go too publicly with the story, you'll 100% end up dead. You'll 100% end up dead. The only way you can do this safely is if we all do it at the same time, and that's the hard part. Is how do you coordinate that, right? That's the problem I'm having right now. Like, dude, right now, don't pay your fucking taxes. That's the bare minimum you can do. Don't pay your taxes. Take your kids out of public school. That's all you can do. I can name 3 kids I know and 1 kid that's my own. 3 kids that I know and 1 kid that's my own that will not be in public school when the time is right, or currently. I know people that have pulled their kids out of public school. Please do so. Please do so. You can totally homeschool your kids. It's easy. You can download curriculum online. You can go to Khan Academy. Matter of fact, I'll do the hard part for you. I will link Khan Academy here for you right now. Let me write that down. What time is it? There it is. This is a great thing that you should utilize. Khan Academy is one of the best free resources in the world. It was invented by some guy who he was like an engineer or something. Don't quote me. Super nice guy. I took his academy when I was in middle school, when I was in honors classes, and the short and sweet of it was my teacher just admitted that he was one person, and we had a lot of curriculum, and he signed us up to learn some of the curriculum with Khan Academy. And that was the short and sweet of my experience with it. Great program. It's completely free, if it still is, and I'll look into that. But dude, homeschool your kids. It's so fucking easy to do. And anybody that says that it can't be done, I got a 19-month-old in there right now that was literally breathing in through her nose, out through her mouth. Counting to 4 when she was getting overwhelmed. She's 19 months old. The kid's not even 2. The kid's not even 2. We have a classroom inside that we home decorated. I made a blackboard, chalkboard wall for her. We're doing all we can. My wife works from home. I started a side business that this episode is completely brought to you by. Right there. What? I never used to read the back of cleaning products. Then I became a parent, something clicked. I started actually looking at what I was spraying on my countertops in my kitchen, surfaces that my kids touch every day. And I realized I had no idea what half of it was. Not because I'm not smart, just because nobody's talking about it. So I went down a rabbit hole. ingredients, safety lists, requirements as to what they actually have to put onto their label. It's genuinely wild how little transparency is actually required in an industry that you and your children interact with every single day. We want to be transparent about what's included so that way you are informed and you can make your own decision. I'm not saying you have to replace all of your household cleaning products. I'm just saying maybe it's best that you actually look into what you're using. So we're called Spore Busters. Give us a follow if you want to find out more or see us along our journey. Dude, all of this stuff can be done, okay? All of this stuff can be done, and you should do it for your kids. If you're not doing it, I don't know why. Why aren't you doing that? Why would you let your kids be corrupted by this government that's blatantly killing its own civilians and raping kids, eating kids, and trafficking kids? Why would you put your kid in that system? That's weird. That's weird. And that's weird. It is objectively weird. We can agree to that, right? Knowing what we know now, why would you put your kids in public school? Cheers. You should have a drag. Go ahead. This thing's actually jogging along tonight. I'm very thankful. Last 2 episodes I've had are literally the most views I've ever had, and I truly believe that it's energy and truth. Nothing I'm saying is wrong, and I think we all are starting to know it. We're starting to feel it. We're starting to know it. We're starting to just see it everywhere we go, and people aren't feeling right about it. And dude, if that's you, comment. Let me know. Let me know. Because I really think that's a lot of us. I really do. And there's more of us than there are them. I mean, dude, I don't want to be too grotesque here, but I got more guns in my safe 20 feet from me than there are billionaires in my county. Right? Right? And again, not to be too grotesque. I'm a very peaceful man. You can see it. Right? I'm not one of those guys. But saying the quiet part out loud, we very much outnumber them. There's a reason they're trying to disarm us. There's a reason entire parts of the world are going offline. Right? They're literally shutting off the internet in Iran. They're shutting off the internet in Russia. They're shutting off the internet in Ukraine. They're shutting off the internet in Israel. They're shutting off the internet anywhere there's a war. Are you noticing that? Is anybody home? Anybody home right now? Hello? Are you logged into Twitter? Are you logged into TikTok? Are you logged into Reddit? I got kicked off Reddit. They fucking kicked me off the platform because I was kind of spitting some truth. And I don't even remember exactly what I did, but I ended up using an alt account so I could continue communicating, and who cares? If you do that, you do that. We all do that. Everybody has an alt account these days. Because, I mean, just at the bare minimum, people have a work account and a private account, right? Everybody has an alt account. So nothing I did is nothing that other people aren't already doing, right? They busted me for that. They kicked me offline. But, dude, get logged into these programs. All of these apps are showing what's really going on, because the second the internet gets kicked back online in these places, even if it's for a moment, people are mass uploading video, mass uploading testimony, mass uploading photos, mass uploading everything. Dude, I saw some videos that came out of Israel this week that made me cry. And I'm not pro-Israel. I think I've stated that pretty publicly now at this point. But just the footage, man. Not a fan of it. And because it's what I talk about for a side living, I have to see it, and it's hard, especially now as a father. But dude, the second the internet comes back on, these people are uploading it because they want us on the West. They want us to see what's going on. And respectfully, they should. They deserve for their story to be heard. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. I think we all agree to that. So let's go back into the video that he's talking about. I kind of got off on a tangent. My fault. We'll do that. That happens here. If you're new here, that's fine. That's fine. But in the video, he doubted the fire immediately. He immediately asked for tips from locals. He asked to be emailed, and people look. Anybody who knows Charlie Kirk knows that he read virtually all of his emails. He read everything that was ever communicated to him, even if it took him days to get back to people. He would try to, if it was worth exploring. He didn't reply to everybody, but there's hundreds of people that will attest that he did reply to them and he did communicate with them. And anyways, he asked for email tips from locals to say what their eyewitness testimony was of what occurred. And he also discusses the lack of journalistic coverage in Hawaii. He discusses the lack of people doing what he just did, asking for tips. He also said how it's basically a rich person's playground, that whole area. Now, from what I understand about Lahaina specifically, I don't know if that's necessarily true. And I'll actually push back on Charlie a little bit, right? We don't want to just dick ride what the guy said and just take it all at face value. We want to do our own research. And of course, like always, I just completely fucked up this cigar because I wanted to take the sticker off of it. This happens every time, dude. I should just stop doing that. Just take the cigar where the sticker goes and let it ride, man. I do this every time. Look at this. I messed it up here, and then I messed it up on the top, too. Up top and down low. Too slow. Hey. Man, can you tell I've only been smoking cigars for a few months? It's terrible. Now, I would push back on that a little bit. No, I'm not just going to take his words at face value just because I like him. I don't know if it was a rich person's playground. I think Hawaii in general was. And maybe that was his overall point. Maybe he didn't mean the town literally. But I don't think the town literally was that much of a rich person's playground. I think it was a lot of locals. I think it was a lot of multi-generational living, which isn't prejudicial in nature. That's not a negative observation. Don't take it that way. I think that's just really common on the island. A lot of people live with their extended families. Super duper normal. And I think that's part of the reason why there were so many casualties, which again, this main story just does not get into. It really does not get into. And it pisses me off because they say that, oh, it was the deadliest wildfire in over a century. Dude, they underreported how many people actually died. By magnitudes, not just by a couple hundred. Like, dude, it's likely over 1,000 people are actually dead from this circumstance. Or from this situation, not circumstance, from the situation. And they're never going to tell that out loud. They're never going to admit that out loud. So, anyway, I haven't even cracked the claw, baby. The claw is sitting here cooling down, or technically warming up. That's terrible. I don't even know if I can drink this on the camera, so we're just going to... It's a Pepsi. Black cherry Pepsi. I'm not lying. It's definitely not my third tonight. You're wrong. You see how much water I'm having? The ratio is proportionate. I've had about 2 of these to 3 of these. It's proper. It's proper. Excuse me. So anyways, he mentions Rush Limbaugh. Me, myself? Look. I'm trying to normalize not having an opinion and shit I don't know about. And I don't fucking know about Rush Limbaugh. I'm just gonna say that. I don't know shit about Rush Limbaugh. I really don't. But he said he likes him. And he had a good quote that I will admit was a good fucking quote. Good quote. And he says, when the media doesn't cover something, that is far more important than when they do cover something. And that's a banger. I don't know enough about Rush Limbaugh to say if I like the guy. I do know that quote's a banger. And I know that's objectively a true statement. Whenever the media covers something, that's one thing. But whenever they don't cover another thing, that's an inherent diversion. It is a cover-up. It is a conspiracy. The media's sole job, and I need to remind people of this because I'm actually entering the independent media space because of the lack of proper media. Media and the news, their job is to be the middleman from us to the government, to keep the government accountable for their behavior to us. That is literally what the media is supposed to be. What they've turned into is a mouthpiece for the government. And this is the case with global governments. It doesn't matter if it's our country or elsewhere. I mean, you see it in Russia, and it's funny. It's funny because here in America, we say, oh, the propaganda ministry of Russia put out this statement. And it's literally just the news channel of Russia. And it's like, so we call them propaganda just because it's their main news channel. But when it's CNN or Fox News, that's news. That's not propaganda. That's not serving a message for the elite. Cool. Roger that. You're a fucking liar. Thanks, though. Yeah, thanks, though. So anyways, he said that about Rush Limbaugh. I think it's a good clip. I think it deserves a cigar toot and a White Claw sip. Pip, pip. But he said that, and I like that. Now let's get into some of the details that Charlie mentioned, right? Now, it's important that I say Charlie mentioned. I don't give a fuck what I'm about to say. I'm a nobody, okay? Hopefully not forever I'm not a nobody. But right now, I mean, objectively, I'm getting a couple hundred views of a video. Cheers to you. I love you. I'm appreciating all of your guys' engagement and insight. I'm getting like 30 hours of watch time in the past 7 days, which is nuts. Very thankful for that. But I'm a nobody, right? Charlie was getting millions of views a video, okay? And he was saying publicly the following things. He mentions that there was no alarm, no public alarm system to notify them of a wildfire or of any emergency. No alarm. Now, to my Washingtonians who live nearby, or to anybody who lives nearby a mountain, you guys all know what I'm about to say. There's lahar warnings, right? For, I can't think of it. Earth movement, we'll call it. I don't know what it's called. Mudslide. Yeah, there we go. Mudslide. Mudslide. There's lahar warnings for all of that type of thing, right? And any kid that grew up in Washington, any kid that grew up in Oregon, any kid that grew up near a mountain, we all attest to it because we grew up listening to them when we were in elementary school. This is just a normal part of our life. We know the alarm. This isn't even people that live on an island, right? So this is just people that live nearby a fucking mountain. I did this living 45 miles away from the nearest mountain. Like, come on. Lahaina is at the bottom of a mountain. So for them to say that they had no alarms in place, that's point number one Charlie brought up. And they had the alarms in place. They just intentionally did not allow them to go off. So that needs to be stated publicly, again, multiple years later. Because now Charlie is dead for stating the same thing out loud. Possibly. And we'll get into that. He mentions FEMA being literally isolated from the event and being disabled from allowing funds. That's interesting because we also found that out with Biden and the hurricanes on the East Coast. Whenever FEMA was finding out people were MAGA or whatever, they were not giving funds to those neighborhoods. Look, the only red hat I have is a Tacoma Rainiers hat, but that is objectively fucked up. You can't disallow aid to people just because they vote differently than you. That's just objectively fucked up. That's point number two. He mentions Hurricane Katrina. And he does this in passing, but I think he did that on purpose. It was a dog whistle. Because those who are hip to the game, they know that Hurricane Katrina, it was a well-known, I mean, I don't want to say inside job, but it was a well-known government conspiracy. The levees were broken on purpose. The fire departments were disallowed from engaging. All sorts of things. Anybody that lives in the southern United States, if you guys live in the southern United States, chip in with your story from 20 years ago. Because I'm sure you can attest to it. People living in Louisiana, people living in the South, dude, those levees were broke on purpose. They were not maintained. The infrastructure was not properly kept up to code. The warning signs were there and they purposefully ignored them. Just like Lahaina, okay? And that's interesting because this is this is all assuming we trust the mainstream narrative, right? Even if we trust the mainstream narrative, there was gross negligence at a federal level and nobody fucking answered for it. Disgusting. Last but not least, he mentions and admits through local officials that they blocked water for the locals to fight the fire with their own garden hoses. Dude, they turned off the water. I want to remind people of that because this happened 3 years ago now and people were so quick to forget about this. Bro, they turned off the water. They turned off the water during a national emergency, or not a national emergency, but a statewide emergency. They turned off that fucking water. What do you think they're going to do when shit gets real? They're killing American citizens. They're raping and trafficking kids. And they're laughing in our faces while they fucking do it, okay? They turned off the water. I don't think we ever got angry enough about that, okay? So I just want to reiterate that. They turned off the water. And they said it was on some heebie-jeebie bullshit about how we need to respect the water and have equity. They're on a fucking island surrounded by water. I think they have enough fucking water. Especially if the sole use of it is to stop the land from burning. I mean, good God. I get a little bit agitated. Now we flash forward today. Half of that same area is now being flooded by century level or a century. What do they call it? A once in a century flood. It's literally that you can't make this shit up. They literally burnt out the fucking place, and now half of it was swept away in a flood. So there's no evidence. Like, dude, if you don't feel mildly schizophrenic in 2026, I just feel like you're not watching the news. Honestly. Honest to God. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know what to say. Yeah. And I know people are going to comment in the chat, be like, "Oh, it was in Kona. It wasn't in Lahaina. It wasn't or Lahaina. It was in Kona." Bro, it was the majority of Maui that flooded. Kona is what got hit the worst, and Kona is where the majority of the flood started. Tap in with your people on the islands. They are not doing well right now. There's entire houses getting swept out into the ocean. It's crazy. And they're trying to jump in our face and say that it's global warming. And it's like, dude, no. Because if it was global warming, we wouldn't have all of these rich assholes buying property in that exact area. We wouldn't have all of these rich assholes buying beachfront property. Because look, if all of the scientists are saying that the ocean level is going to rise 50 feet in the next 100 years or whatever the fucking mainstream conspiracy is going to be, why are all these people buying beachfront property? Why? If they truly believe that their house is going to be underwater in the next decade or two, why are they buying beachfront property? That's a depreciating asset. Maybe it's just the Jewish man in me, but that doesn't make sense financially, right? Unless they don't actually believe in it and they're peddling a fucking bullshit narrative, so you believe in it and you buy into their bullshit narrative. Okay? Done. I'm so tired of it. Mask off. Mask off. So anyways, reiterating, the official story was 102 missing, or 102 dead, 2 missing, 67 injured. That's what they say. Talking about it briefly here, I can't post it. It's way too graphic. Okay, it's way too graphic. But I'll post the website in my description. So I want you guys to go see that. Okay, if you guys are watching this right now, go in my description. I'll briefly describe what it is, and I'll include that link. It's bad. I'll just say right now on camera, I saw at least 10 dead bodies in just one clip. That clip was about, oh no, it was 2 clips, sorry. It was 2 clips, but I didn't watch the full second one. So it was like 5 minutes of 2 total clips. One clip is 3 minutes long, and then I watched like 2 minutes of another one. Anyway, saw 10 dead bodies in, we'll call it 5 minutes. They say that only 102 died, but I saw 10% of them in 5 minutes of people just walking around. Okay. Yeah. No, there's way more people than they say died. Because there's like 20, 30 minutes of video in that website that I'm going to link for you. There's a really, really large amount of fucked up material that you'll see. One of the things I want to share with you guys, because it was not a wildfire. It was not a wildfire. It was definitely directed energy weapons. It was not Jewish space lasers. I mean, dude, look at me. Come on. I'm a Jew. Look, okay? It was not Jewish space lasers, but we do have lasers. Okay? I'm going to write this down so I can come back to it and talk about it, but we do have lasers. The Navy has had them for decades, and a lot of people do not know about that. So I'm going to put that right here if I can. But the Navy has had lasers for literally decades, and that's just what we've known about publicly. I remember reading about Navy not space lasers. I remember reading about Navy lasers on aircraft carriers, literally, when I was like 12. That was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Okay. And that's just when they were telling us. If you don't think that they could retrofit this, make it have a longer range, and then put it on a satellite, you're just a silly goose. Get in the pond, bro. If you're gonna be a silly goose, get in the pond. I don't have time for your shit. I don't. Gotta get caught up. So, with that being said, I have another clip to talk about. It's actually Charlie on another girl's podcast. I forget her name, so I don't want to say it out of pocket, but she's a conservative podcaster. She's pretty chill. I just forget what her name is, so I don't want to just say a name and look like an absolute idiot. But I'm gonna post that clip right here. He talks about it with her. They kind of joke about it, but they also kind of don't. He's also being very serious simultaneously. There's a lot of riffraff about it, but I think if you read between the lines, he's doing that on purpose. He doesn't want to say it all out loud, but he's also saying it all out loud. So I'm going to write this down so you can come back to that and see this. Please watch that whole clip in its entirety. I'm not going to clip that. I'm literally just going to show you what they posted. Literally, it's on Charlie Kirk's fucking thing. I'm just literally reposting it. All it is free use. It's free use. So. Cheers.
Alex, did Oprah Winfrey start the fire?
Is that what people are saying? I know that there are people that are saying there's some conspiracy theories about the Maui fires. Why does there need to be a cover-up? What's the incentive?
Well, I mean, if you were Oprah Winfrey and you wanted beachfront property, just get rid of the plebes.
If you were to buy into that, I don't know of another way to do it.
So here are the Maui theories, okay?
Because she's a celebrity who lives there.
Close by, and her house was untouched.
Wants a bunch of land.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
So then the other one, have you heard about the lasers?
No.
Well, the lasers are a big thing.
Lasers from space cause
Yeah,
this?
but apparently all the blue things are untouched. You know, it's a big thing. You know about this, Joe Bob?
Yeah, no, the blue houses are left standing.
The blue houses, the blue cars. So apparently it's a special type of laser that passes over the blue. I don't quite understand scientifically how that works.
That is interesting. I haven't heard that.
So they joked about how Oprah's house was untouched. They joked about how, if blue objects were untouched, I mean, dude, yard waste bins, blue cars, and blue roofs, all sorts of things that were just blue. They were not getting burned. A lot of people remember that, and they were trying to say that it was a conspiracy. It was this, it was that, it was this, it was that. Look, I don't want to go down the internet of putting on my VPN and going on DuckDuckGo and reverse image searching and doing this and doing that. I don't want to do that. I don't have the time for that. But those who know, just go on Twitter. There are so many photos of people where there's entire neighborhoods burned down except for the house that's blue, or there's entire neighborhoods that are burned down except for the house that's got a blue roof. It's literally dozens of photos. I don't have the time to make a montage of that. I'm trying to run a side business. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a dude with a tiny pecker. That's why I'm wearing a gray sweatpants. Uh, partially kidding. I'm not. But yeah, I don't got a lot of time to do that whole montage shit for you guys. But if you have time, go on Twitter. Just keyword search Lahaina blue fire. All you got to do. Little things like that. Boom, you'll get a bunch of hits. You'll get a bunch of hits, especially if you have Twitter Premium. I don't because I think that's silly. But if you have that, especially if you have blue check mark, you can use Grok and Grok will search it for you. It's nuts, dude. There's so much evidence out there. The problem is people just watch their mainstream 5 o'clock news. That's literally the problem. We're getting more people off that every day. You have people like Sean Ryan, you have people like Candace Owens, you have people like Joe Rogan. They're literally the #3 podcast right now. And then there's Tucker Carlson, #4 podcast right now. They get more hits every night than CNN and Fox News combined. And that's literally apolitical. It has nothing to do with left or right anymore. Nothing. If you're watching my podcast and you think that I am a Republican or a Democrat or anything, my guy, I am just somebody that protects kids. That's it. I'm not voting no more. I'm not. And I don't think you should either. Like we said earlier, take the kids out of school, stop paying your taxes, just go back to being a good neighborhood man and a good neighborhood woman. You see people across the street that need help, help them. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Don't be, yeah. This whole American Empire thing, I think it's over, man. I really do. I love this country, but I hate where it's going. I really do. I think that's the best way to phrase it because I think a lot of us feel that way in our hearts. That's why I'm getting more views than I used to, because I'm saying what other people are agreeing with. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound narcissistic because it has nothing to do with that. I'm literally just saying what a lot of people are thinking. That's literally it. So yeah, he talks about how all of those blue objects were untouched. Oprah's house was untouched, or yeah, it was untouched. It's all sorts of shit. I want to get into a couple of the narratives here. Only 3 of the 102 official victims were kids. Only 3. Okay. That's what they want us to believe. Only 3 people. Okay. But one of the people covering this up was John Podesta. And we already talked about that. The guy hurts kids. The guy hurts kids. He's got a really sick art collection that would make you throw up if you're not prepared to see it. Okay? So when that guy is the one telling me the story, I'm not believing it. The official story is 3 kids died. The rest were people that were like, 50, 60, 70 for the most part. A couple people in their 30s and 40s, but mostly, just elderly people, which kind of makes sense in a wildfire. So I'm not really, that part doesn't stick out to me. Excuse me. Man, the White Claws be making you giggle a little bit. You have, yeah, they be making you giggle a little bit. Excuse me. Anyway, the official story, I'm not worried about the old people dying. That makes sense. That checks out. The kids, that's the part I'm worried about. They say only 3 kids died, but let's have a quick reiteration of the facts, okay? They say only 2 people were unaccounted for still to this day. I'm going to assume that's kids, even if it's not. Even if it's not, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So we'll say 5 kids died out of 102, okay? Sorry. The guard almost died, okay? That was stressful. And the guards almost died anyways. But they said, we'll benefit of the doubt it. We'll give them the benefit, okay? 5 kids out of 102. However, for the first 3 months, after, they couldn't contact 500 families. For the first month after, they couldn't contact the families of 2,000 kids. And still now to this day, they never got a hold of 360 families. But only 2 people are unaccounted for to this day. No lie. That's the official story. Yeah. That's what they want you to believe. And even if you go to the link that I posted earlier, that's what they'll tell you. Or I don't think it actually shows it in writing down there, but it'll spell it out kind of in the videos. Like it says, hundreds of families are waiting to be contacted. They haven't contacted them fully, but they're still trying to. Dude, it's a mess. We'll just say it like this. What I wrote down for my research earlier, I said roughly 360 families with no contact since regarding their kids, which is huge. Locals, however, are claiming thousands of kids are missing or burned alive. Okay? And I saw some evidence of that. I saw at least 1 dead kid out of the 10 bodies that I saw dead, which translates to roughly 10%. I don't like to do math like that, but let's do math like that for a minute. Even if the number is 102, that would translate to roughly 10 dead kids, and we're seeing half of that. However, there was hundreds of families that were reporting things missing. There was thousands of kids missing for the first month and a half, after the fact. How long does it take to find kids? 30 days? Still 2,000 kids? And then later it's, no, we found them. No, they just didn't enroll in school. That's what the official story was? They said, oh, we couldn't find the 2,000 kids because they just didn't come back to school. That's what the official story is? How dumb do you think I am? I mean, of course they're not going back to school if there was a wildfire. I get that part. But you're trying to tell me that's the only reason you couldn't get in touch with people? On the islands? Dude, most of the people that grow up on the islands, they're more tightly knit than anybody. Okay? If people are missing, they're gonna get in touch with their people, man. That's just common sense. Don't lie to me. I'm not dumb like that. And I don't think that my Islander brothers and sisters are dumb like that either. If 2,000 of their own kids were missing, do you know how many people are even on the fucking island of Maui? I don't, but I know it's not that many. 2,000 children missing on a small island like that, and nobody gave a fuck. Cool. And Charlie talks about that too. He goes, they're talking about the Fannie Mae, the mortgage company, because the mortgage rates were going up again at the time. It's like, wow, dude. Wow. And I remember this. I literally bought my house right before Lahaina happened. I keep saying Lahaina. Fuck me. Right before Lahaina happened, I bought my house. So I know the mortgage rates were fucked. But even then, as a new time homeowner, I was 25 years old. Okay? I closed on the house when I was 24. As a 25-year-old, I was still like, what the fuck's going on the islands, dude? I don't have anybody that I know that lives on the islands, but like, it's one of those, like, you know people that know people, and even if you don't know people that know people, it's your state. It's a state, bro. It's like, it's part of your country. I don't want that to happen to anybody. What's going on in the islands? And now we revisit everything, and it all makes sense. Okay, so let me stop getting off a tangent. Let me get back on the main points. They claim that over 360 families were never fully contacted regarding their kids. What happened to your kids? We don't know. But yet they say that those kids are accounted for. So I don't know how that makes sense. That's a major discrepancy for me. Lots of locals say that there's hundreds or even thousands of kids missing or dead. The only place that disputes this is Reddit. However, Reddit is also known to be used as a disinformation farm because, dude, you can make so many accounts super easily. I, for example, even if I'm banned, I could make 5 accounts in under an hour and start swiping at people and saying shit left and right. It's really easy to get up in there, say a comment, have a bunch of people that are also bots upload it to get it into the algorithm, and then actual people organically upload it. It's very, very easy for that to take place. So it's hard to trust this specific story because now this story is being regurgitated about in the ethos, in the matrix, if you will. But way back, when it first happened, Like I'm talking September 2023, October, November. People were like, yo, where the fuck are our kids? Literally, where the fuck are our kids? And that was a real transgression that occurred. And now the whole story is inverted. They say the kids are fine. We just never got a hold of the families. Objectively, that does not make sense. If you can't get a hold of the families, how are elementary school age children fine? How are they okay? How are they washing themselves? How are they feeding themselves? How are they keeping their own lights on? How are they doing any of these things? Can we spell that out nice and slow, like I'm a 5-year-old? Just spell it out, please. I will follow along. Okay. Next topic. Now this is the one where the connections to Charlie Kirk get really thick, really fast. Okay, Freemasonry. This one isn't a long-winded conversation. Short and sweet. I'll let you guys do your own research because you're gonna call me fucking crazy anyway. If you've made it this far, you're in it for the long haul, right? But you're gonna call me crazy when I say this next thing. Charlie knew about what was going on in Lahaina. He knew about it was basically a Freemasonry capital. He knew that there was pagan worship going on there from 500 years ago to now. It's a lot that goes on. But to unpack it cleanly and briefly, Lahaina was the former capital of the Hawaiian kingdom. Many Hawaiian kings were proven later to be Freemasons. Kamehameha the Fourth and Kalakaua, specifically, those are very well-known kings of Hawaii. They were both Freemasons. Not my words, another person's words. You can just give that a Google, boop, it'll say yes. There's a lot to unpack about that because they were literally the leaders of an entire people. And now we think about it today, some of the islanders hate mainlanders. And I don't think it's because they hate white people. I don't think that it's because of anything like that. I think they hate imperialism. I think they hate colonialism because Freemasonry and colonialism were brought to the islands together, hand in hand by force and shoved down the people's throats. The literal leader of Hawaii multiple times was subjected to Freemasonry, esoteric occultism, without his consent and forced to believe in this bullshit and push it upon his people. Now, why does that matter? Well, it's funny that you asked that. So this matters for several reasons because Freemasons, and I'm not talking your granddaddy's Freemasons where they're laying bricks and they're having meetings on the lodge on the weekend and they're having little get-togethers with their grandpappies. It gets higher than that. Your granddad or anybody that you know is a Freemason likely doesn't get higher than the 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe even 9th degree Freemason. The shit goes up to 33, baby. Keep up, okay? Shit gets up to 33. So whatever you think your granddad's on, if you're going to comment, my granddad was a Freemason, he never told me about any of that. That's because he didn't know about it. It gets really compartmentalized, okay? But the higher you go, the more you start to find out that these secret societies are all based in the same occult just shit. Almost all of these secret societies believe in sacrifice. They believe in deity worship, which isn't different than me. I believe in God, right? But they believe in negative gods. They believe in things that are not good for you. They believe in child sacrifice, and it goes back thousands of years. In Jesus' time, they had the Canaanites, right? And the Canaanites, they believed in Baal. Baal, if I remember right, I'm kind of going off memory here a little bit. Baal is an amalgamation of Moloch. And Moloch is literally the god of child sacrifice. That's exactly what it is. He's the dude with the horns on his head. He's where every god gets their negative god from, right? So our devil, Baal, Hades and the underworld, all of these like demonic, we'll call it, gods are based off of Moloch. If I remember right, I could be getting my timeline wrong, but yeah, he's one of the very first gods, and he ain't a good one. He ain't a nice one. And almost all ancient societies have a ritualification. That's not a real word, but we're going to make it one. They all have a form of this guy's teaching. They have, of course, good teachings, and then they have bad teachings. And all of the bad teachings involve some form of child sacrifice, right? I bring that up because secret societies are 1,000-year-old groups and fraternities that we barely know anything about, but they're passing down oral and written tradition from hundreds of years before our time, hundreds of years before our ancestors' time. Why does that matter? That matters very easily, or very openly, for one easily provable reason. These people are worshiping the things that I was just talking about. They are worshiping child sacrifice, and they are worshiping Moloch. They are worshiping a very dark shit that is not Christian. It is not Islam. It is not Jewish. It is definitely not Buddhist. Okay, everything that these people worship, they say in your face they're gonna wear the Jesus piece. They're gonna wear, they'll wear stuff for Islam. They'll wear stuff for Judaism. They'll wear stuff for anything, but they don't actually believe in it. They don't. That's why I don't believe in mega churches. And that's why I'm really distancing myself from anything in Hollywood. Dude, I don't watch a lot of TV no more. I don't. TV's hard. Because the second I get on TV, I'm like, oh, you're in the files. Or, oh, you funded somebody that's in the files. Or, oh, your spouse is in the files. Or, oh, there's a video of you doing demonic things to kids, and I've seen it. Oh. That's like literally everything, like every time I see something in Hollywood. The only person I don't got dirt on is Nathan Fillion. Cheers, bro. Nathan Fillion, right here. Dude, there's no way he'll ever watch this, but dude, if he ever does, cheers. Congratulations on not being in the files. Congratulations on not being a piece of shit, because everybody else is. I bring him up just for a rather silly reason, but he, I have the same birthday as him. And he's actually a pretty cool actor. But Kenzie and I always make jokes. Everybody's in the files. And then we're like, but not Nathan Fillion. And so when the files came out, I did a search. He's not in the files. He's a great guy. I have the same birthday as him. It's pretty cool. But literally everybody else is in the files. I posted on the last episode, Tucker Carlson's in the file. Or not Tucker Carlson. I'm so sorry. Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker is in the files. I posted that in the last episode, and a lot of people haven't even noticed that yet. But when they do, you'll get back to me. Tucker Carlson's not in the files, but his dad was a Mossad agent or something like that. He was like a CIA agent, which I think says a lot. That thing's out. He worked for the CIA, his dad, which I think says a lot, but I don't know if it really does. I kind of like Tucker Carlson. He's the only one that's asking the real important questions, but he also plays coy a lot. He plays very dumb. I think you know what I mean when I say that. But he does that, and it's good, I think, because then the other people he's talking to, they say the quiet part out loud. So anyways, to kind of bring that back full circle, I like to be rambling. Cheers, ramble. I'm kind of a pot smoker, and I drink and I smoke cigars, and we get off on tangents. But these people worship Baal, and they worship Moloch, which are human sacrifice, child sacrifice. Thousands of kids were missing. The locals say thousands of kids were burned, thousands of kids were killed. Okay. I can tell you very confidently that was not a wildfire. And you're going to ask how I know this. There's a video that I can't show it to you because it literally get me kicked off YouTube. It's really graphic, but I'm going to explain it. There's a video of a guy walking through the street after the fact, and the entire street is black. Like, the entire street is black. And I'm not talking black like asphalt. I'm talking black like the literal concrete burnt. Anybody who is not an absolute idiot knows that concrete doesn't just catch on fire. That's not just a casual thing that happens on a Wednesday in Hawaii. Okay. Whole ground was scorched. All of vegetation gone. There's just literally no evidence of anything. You literally just see the road. And on the road, there's a cat. And the cat, for no exaggeration of the phrasing, it was literally mid-step. Tail swinging like this. And it was vaporized. Vaped. Literally just like this. Literally, tail swinging. Head looking like this. Frozen in place, charred through to the bone. That doesn't happen in a wildfire, bro. Show me literally show me one fucking photo of that happening in another wild. Show me one photo of that happening in a wildfire. Just one. And I will at least entertain a different opinion. But dude, when I saw that, I was like, I still don't really have a lot of words. I'm going to spare you some of the more gory details about the cat. But basically, it looked like something struck it, either directly or indirectly. Because there was trauma to one side of the cat that didn't appear on the other side. And again, it was literally it was fucking standing up. It was standing up. It didn't keel over. It was standing up. Mid-step. Okay? I can't get over that. That's not something I can get out of my head. And I posted the website earlier in here. So if you're so inclined, you can fucking watch it. It's in the description. I'm not going to sleep after posting this podcast episode. I literally am not. My birthday was a few days ago. Happy birthday, Nathan Fillion. Literally though, my birthday was a few days ago. That's funny. But dude, I really don't think this was a wildfire. Because before it was funny when everybody was online, they're like, haha, the blue stuff didn't burn. But no, dude, peel back the curtain. Start looking at the graphic evidence. If you can stomach graphic evidence, watch. There's a lot of dead animals. And the way the animals behave in a natural disaster tells you everything. Animals respond very, very smartly and very intelligently when there's a natural disaster. They usually get the hell out of Dodge, especially if there's a bird. Birds get the hell out of Dodge. Now, looking back, I don't actually know if I saw any birds in the evidence, but now I'm going to watch after I film this video and see if I can find any more. But dogs, cats, humans, I mean, dude, they're a lot of remains. Like I said, I saw 10 human bodies in the span of 5 minutes and probably half a dozen household pets. I mean, if it's only 100 dead people, they were on one block, and I saw almost, a quarter of them. Like, I really don't believe the official story is true. I think there's probably over 1,000 people that died, and they just went, we're going to wrap this up real fucking quick. You're not going to tell nobody, and we're going to cut the internet off right here, and boom. And even now, this whole neighborhood has not been rebuilt. It's been almost 3 years. It hasn't been rebuilt. I work in insurance. I can tell you confidently, it doesn't take 3 years to rebuild a home, even on an island. On the mainland, it takes about 12 to 18 months to build a home. Doubling that for island time, you'd still have a house rebuilt. So, yeah, there's a lot to go on there. But yeah, the colonialism that happened with the Freemasonry, I think that's a lot of the reason why some Hawaiians and islanders hate us. If you're an islander, if you hate me, I don't think you hate me personally because I don't know you, but if you do, that's probably why. It ain't because of me. It's because of them. And I get it. Fuck them. Now, here's where shit gets funny. Ironically, after the Lahaina fires, guess who was one of the #1 groups to fund the recovery efforts for kids? I can't make this up. Freemason. Literally. Some of the local charters. And this is more your grandpa's Freemasonry, right? Like, I'm not putting my conspiracy hat on fully. But your grandpa's Freemasons, the local, what do you call it? Fraternities. The local fraternities did help fund efforts to find these kids and help locate them. But I just think that's really ironic and really funny, because even on its most innocent level, that's incredible proximity. um, and on its most guilty level, you guys aren't trying to find kids; you're trying to steal kids. Who said that? Literally this week, 22 Freemasons in France are being put on trial for an assassination for hire plot, maybe tied to Charlie Kirk. They're linked to France. They're linked to this group called the French Foreign Legion, which is apparently a paratrooper regiment, and they wear maroon berets. I'll try to post that. Post that right here. I'll try to post that for you so you can see it. But anyways, when they're out of uniform or when they're doing clandestine operations where they don't want people to know about it, they wear maroon shirts. And they wear these shirts so that way people in their scope know who's who. And that's basically the full gist of it. Now, that's interesting because dozens of these types of people were spotted wearing maroon shirts at Charlie's death in Utah when he got shot. Military age men, 20-something-year-olds to 30-something-year-olds, all wearing the same color shirt. Before you say, Ethan, what if that's the color of their mascot at UVU? It fucking wasn't. Spare me the nonsense. It wasn't. The local mascot is not that color. These people chose very specific shirts, and they were doing very, very odd things. I'll spare you the montage of it because I believe in just getting this episode out and being quick about it. But you guys, get on Twitter, type in UVU Charlie Kirk maroon shirt. Boom! You'll get a bunch of hits. You'll get a bunch of hits of videos. And it's interesting. It gets real interesting. So, literally just this week, there's Freemasons on trial. I just talked about how Freemasons are tied to Lahaina. I just talked about how Charlie was openly talking about Lahaina and how the official story was complete bunk. And now Charlie's no longer with us. Interesting, ain't it? And furthermore, these kids that are missing, they probably got trafficked by Epstein and his friends. Because Epstein was never dead. No, seriously. Like, if you guys think that Epstein's dead, I don't know. I've seen the photos of his body. I've seen the videos of him being wheeled out. I've seen a lot of the stuff that you can see, both through the available internet and like the quote unquote deep web, which is way easier to get on, by the way, than most people think. The deep web is not this like really hard thing to accomplish. It's literally a VPN plus a private browser. It's really not that hard to do. However, everything I've ever seen of Epstein, I don't know. There's a lot of facial features that don't line up, and you can't kill yourself in the way that he supposedly did. It just doesn't happen. Your neck is stronger than that. So the guy's, he's doing something. If he's not alive, he definitely has a +1 that's just ready to take the reins. If you guys think the Epstein files died with him, that's just bogus. This stuff has been going on for thousands of years. What did I just say? Moloch is one of the first deities to quote unquote walk the earth, okay? And the #1 thing that he lusted for was the blood of children. This is thousands of years in the making. This isn't going to stop until we all wake up. I'm not going to live on an earth where my kiddo has to live with this type of shit. And I hope you don't either, okay? So if you made it this far, if you like the type of shit I'm talking about, give me a follow, give me a subscribe. I'm over on TikTok. I can't have Instagram because I'm a naughty little boy and Zuckerberg doesn't like me. Can't have Reddit. Follow me on TikTok. I put short form over there. I put long form over here. I'm going to bang this out, try to get this edited in the next day or two so you guys can see it quick. I don't have a lot of overlays to put on here, but dude, hey, all of this shit is connected. I don't think anybody's talking about Lahaina, Charlie, and Epstein. The connections are so deep, dude. As soon as I started reading about it and I saw this clip from Charlie, I was like, holy fuck, dude, it's all connected. It's all connected. They took him out because he was questioning everything out loud. he was questioning Israel. Literally a week after October 7th, everybody said he was pro-Israel till his death. No. Literally October 14th, 2023, he was talking about shit like, hey, did they have a stand-down order? I put that on my short form content right here, and if I need to, I'll post it on the outro. You know what? I don't need to post it on the outro. It's on my TikTok. If you need to see it, go fucking see it. But he questioned a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to keep talking about it. Candace Owens is going to keep talking about it. Baron Coleman is going to keep talking about it. Excuse me. Ian Carroll's going to keep talking about it. All these people are going to talk about it. So if you like that kind of stuff, follow me, man. Follow them. I'm going to get this edited. And I didn't even finish the whole claw, baby. I got to get some drinking done. So you guys have a good night. I finished the cigar. I got to drink some water. You guys got to have yourself a good night's sleep. And don't pay your taxes. Cheers.